Hello, and welcome to a room talk video, where the one big difference between this and a car talk video is really just the location. It's 30 degrees outside, so I really don't want to be in my car, so here I am. Again, I know I've been in my room before while recording this. I like this space too, I like my car. To me, it's the privacy, because right now there's no one else in the house. So I think for me, when there's no one else in the house, it feels nice to just be in my room with all like my posters and shit because I like them. And it's not a poster, but there's a giant keyblade hanging. I like this. Like, I feel very comfortable here. I also do feel very comfortable in my car. And that's when it's like, cool, there's other people around. This is now my private box. It just kind of depends on the mood. And again, how freaking cold it is outside. But given that this is a talk video, I was going to do it yesterday, but I really wanted KFC, and it took a lot longer to get it than I wanted. And by the time I was done, I was like, well, the sun's just about setting, so the lighting's going to be really jank. Let's just do it tomorrow morning. So, here we are. So today is Friday. Did I do a car talk for the last week? I feel like I did. No, that's right, I did, but there was some stuff that happened at the end of the week that I want to talk about, like football, which I might do now, I might do in a separate video that I record right after. It kind of depends on how long we end up going, we'll see. One of the big things is I finished episode 0 of Muv-Luv the day after. To my knowledge, there are 4. It's episode 0, and then 1, 2, 3. I know I haven't done a full Muv-Luv video. I've talked about it a few times. Short version, it is a visual novel trilogy with, an expanded universe, lots of spin-offs and such. There's Extra, Unlimited, and Alternative. That is the main 3. I played them in 2021. I think I technically started Extra at the end of 2020, but it was here's from January to mid-March. It was mid-March or late March that I finished it. But this was my project. I was hooked. I wasn't well, I liked Extra. It's very obnoxious. Yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love dumb high school bullshit. That is what Extra is, and true to its name, it's a bit extra with it. The characters are very over the top. They're very cliche, very tropey. I didn't super get into it, but by the end, I was like, I actually kind of liked this. I didn't do the extra routes. I know Jose did, because all 3 of my roommates, including myself, have played Muv-Luv. He's the only one that did, and he's actually, I think it's some of the best character work in the series. With those other characters, you guys should really do it. I still haven't, but I would like to at some point. But by the end, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I enjoyed this, but when do we get to the crazy shit? Because I know the big twist, which I won't talk about, because I don't really want to spoil Muv-Luv in a general video. But then I got Unlimited. I was like, okay, now we're getting to it. All right, this is getting good. I'm getting hooked. Ending broke my heart. Then we had Alternative, where the whole damn thing broke my heart. And I still would say I haven't really recovered after playing Alternative. And after Clay finally played it, I watched... Sorry, I thought I heard something. I watched Clay play quite a bit of it, because I had it on the Vita, actually, but he had, I think Jose also had it on the Vita. He was playing it on his computer, he was playing it on Steam, so I was just kind of hanging out with him in his room, watching him play Muv-Luv. During my playthrough, I cried twice. I specifically remember the scenes. Watching it over his shoulder, I cried a lot. A lot of it was I know where this is going. I can see what's happening. They don't have a clue. Good times. So the day after, again, without going into full spoilers, which when I inevitably do a video on the day after, I will. But for right now, to keep it vague, it takes place after Unlimited, but has no bearing on Alternative. I'm not really gonna explain that super well. Episode 0, I've started episode 1, so I'm a couple hours in. I'm enjoying it so far. Episode 0 is fine. I found the writing to be really obnoxious in a different way than Extra. like I said, Extra, it's very tropey, it's very cliche, it's very ridiculously over the top. By the end, I found it endearing. It kind of like Clannad, which, if you don't know me, I adore Clannad. I really do. I really, really love Clannad. But I remember when I would watch it, I referred to Clannad as a benign tumor because I did not care for it, but it grew on me. Even though I didn't want it to, it grew on me, and by the end, I really, truly loved it. Muv-Luv Extra is kind of something similar. This one, though, the reason I found it obnoxious is a lot of the writing felt very repetitive. Like, you would have two characters have a conversation, and they would kind of keep repeating things in the conversation, and, like, the main character would go, like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. I'm like, are you a moron? Like, actually? Because it's very clear if you take 2 seconds to apply critical thinking, what this person is trying to say. Now, that kind of stuff could happen in the other games as well, but it felt more justified given the situations that were going on. Like, all right, this is an unfamiliar location and environment, so it makes sense why you wouldn't know some of the things that are going on and why you might be kind of having 2 separate conversations at once with the same person. Here, it's, no, you guys, like, yes, like, I mean, it's hard to talk about without going full into basic Muv-Luv spoilers, but I don't want to in a general Card Talk video. But I just found a lot of the conversations where I have a viewpoint, and sometimes it was, okay, we're having an actual interesting conversation about why these are diametrically opposed, but how they can be similar as well. Those parts were really interesting. But when it was just, oh my god, I can't believe this person, and like that they would say that they would think that. Oh no, we're having this conversation again. Like, yeah, we are having this conversation again. And I just did not care for the protagonist. I didn't hate him by any means. It's like, he's fine. And then you get to the ending. You get to the climax, where it goes from like, it's fine, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing what happened to the world at this point, but I'm waiting for it to get good. Okay, got good, because holy shit, the ending is incredible. And there's a character from the original trilogy that shows up at the end, because it's been all new cast members so far. I'm like, seeing this character makes me really happy. This is both really hype and also just really heartwarming to see this character okay, given what happens in the original trilogy. Again, keeping it vague. But yeah, overall, I think episode 0 is fine with a solid ending. It really is Rogue One. Like, yeah, it takes place after this part, but it doesn't really have a lot of bearing on this one. I mean, Rogue One kind of does, they get the plans. Did they get the plans? Yeah, because I think they got the weakness planes and then they beamed it up, and then it, ends at the very start of the New Hope. But it's like, yeah, here's a bunch of people, and we're going through, like, their story, and then, yeah, you end up doing something, just, it's okay, and then at the end, it gets really, really good. Really, it's just kind of Rogue One. But anyways, moving on from that. Oh yeah, the new Chainsaw Man. Excuse me. New Chainsaw Man happened. I don't know where we're at. It's like 118, 119, somewhere around there. The ending of the previous chapter was a huge cliffhanger, because it's like, okay, this isn't going to go awful. Like, there's no way it's actually going to follow up with what it just set up. But at the same time, again, wanting to keep it vague. But at the same time, like, something crazy has to happen, right? Like, what they're setting up isn't going to happen, but Denji is now going to realize that something is up, and I'm kind of excited to see where that goes. And Denji being Denji just has no clue what the fuck is going on. He just thinks Asa's weird and quirky and goes along with it, and it's really endearing. That's really what this chapter was. Like, it wasn't... It was just fun. It was just endearing. I like these two and their awkward chemistry. And then Asa's like, oh, thank God it didn't work. I didn't want anything bad to happen to him. Why didn't it work, though? Does that mean he doesn't like me? Does he not like me? That son of a bitch. I am wonderful. I am perfect. I can't believe he doesn't. He has the audacity to not like me. And yet he asked me on another date. What a piece of shit. I really like these two interacting. I think it's really funny. And yeah, as we have been seeing in some of these recent chapters, not so much in this one, but yeah, in the last few, I really do see the growth from Denji. I'm looking for, I've been saying this pretty much every time I talk about Chainsaw Man. I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I want to see where it goes. I'm catching up on My Hero. I caught up on it a few weeks ago, and I was like, cool, I'm just going to wait for it to build, and then I'll get back up with it. Because, I kind of got to that point where, I just don't really want to follow this weekly anymore. I just kind of want to wait for it to be done, or at least have a big bulk of chapters, and then I'll just go through them and wait for it to finish. This one, I'm like, no. I actually am really enjoying this and want to follow it and see where it goes. There might get to that point where, with My Hero, where I eventually got with Naruto, where I get that, I just kind of feel burnt out, and I'm like, all right, can we just end now? We're clearly getting to an end game. I just want to be done and move on with other shit. It's not always necessarily that I think the quality is dropping, although with Naruto, I really don't care for most of Shippuden. I'll say it. I'll be completely dead ass about it. It's not, awful or terrible. He was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was like, I love OG Naruto. I like Shippuden. And then by the end, though, I got sick of it and was just waiting for it to finish. I hope that doesn't happen with Chainsaw Man, but we'll see. I know one of my goals this year is, I don't want to say a New Year's resolution, it's more just, in my giant list of works of fiction, which there's a lot this year. There's a lot of games, there's a lot of visual novels, there's some manga. One of the big ones is One Piece. I had started it before, and I got to, through Alabasta, and then I stopped. And it wasn't I got to a good stopping point, I'm gonna stop, or man, this is ass, I'm gonna quit. I just stopped reading, and I've hated that. It was a few years ago, I hated that I did that, because I really liked it. I was getting really into it. So at some point this year, hopefully relatively soon, I want to pick it back up. I'm going to pick up where I left off, because I wasn't in the middle of an arc. They were just starting the Skypiea stuff. Because I don't want to restart. That's 200 chapters, which I know in One Piece is just a drop in the ocean, but that's also a 200 chapter head start. That's not nothing. The new Pokemon... Okay, so the new Pokemon anime. Ash has 11 episodes, and now there's 9, because I watched the new one this morning. I'm enjoying it so far. So we're 2 episodes in, and he has yet to catch a new Pokemon. Plus, there was kind of the special episode where he tries to catch a Gyarados, and he doesn't. I guess of this, I'm just going to full spoil. Whoops. Sorry, it's this is one thing that I am going to be spoiling. I should maybe make that clear before I start talking about the Pokemon episodes. I'm going to be spoiling Northern War whenever I talk about it, too. But he tried to catch a Gyarados, didn't work. There was the Latias-centric episode, which he did not try to catch her, but he also didn't. He wasn't like, cool, you helped me, I'm going to stay with you. She's kind of fucked off. This episode was he and Misty basically have a little mini game to try to catch a Clauncher. And it's this is basically what they did with Totodile, and Ash got the Totodile. He's not going to beat her twice. Misty's going to get the Clauncher, and she did. Which, I'm not, mad that happened, but Clauncher is a Pokemon I actually really like, so I was hoping Ash would catch it. So, mild disappointment, not major disappointment. I'm so freaking happy that he is using his ding-dang Pokemon that he didn't catch in Journeys. We are seeing a rotating team. Now, are they doing a whole lot? Not really. Lavani, Rowlet, and Totodile were in this episode, and they did pretty much nothing. But it's nice to see them. Journeys, why didn't you do this before? Why weren't there episodes? It's like, yeah, like, oh, we're going to Unova? Sure, let me bring a couple of my Unova Pokemon with me. Why not? Because, like, there was a pretty decent chunk of the show when it was more just about going to different places, hanging out, and it wasn't, like, super into the Pokemon World Championship. And even when it wasn't like, oh, okay, like, we're getting to the really crazy high rank fights. So if he was using some of his older Pokemon, it'd be fine. You'd also think, in these crazy high rank fights, I've beat this horse to death. I don't really want to keep talking about that. It's one of my big problems with Journeys. It's almost too little too late, but this is like its own show, even though it's still kind of part of Journeys. Like, it's weird, but it's nice to see it. But this episode did actually focus on one of his Pokemon. It focused on his Corphish. It did not evolve. But Corphish has always been one of my favorites. It's just, like, not in general, like, the Pokemon itself, but Ash's in particular, because it's just so aggro and so Unga. I've always loved it. And so an episode where Corphish takes center stage, and yeah, it's super aggro and super Unga the entire time. Like, this feels right. I missed you, buddy. I really did. I'm really excited for the next episode. So the next episode is Misty is now traveling with him. So what I'm hoping is maybe not every episode is going to have old companions, because there's quite a few. I imagine there'll probably be like 1 or 2 episodes where... I don't know if every episode is going to have a new companion, a new returning companion, because they're all old. I think you know what I mean. I don't know if we're going to get reintroduced to somebody every episode. There, that sounds better. But Misty is following him at the end of this one. So what might end up happening is the next one is Brock and Silence. So they might be like, hey, we're going to travel with you for a bit. And so by the end of the show, he just has the entire homie group. Like, I would be super down for that. Especially, like, depending on what the finale is. Because if you're going to do something like that, the finale has to be crazy. Like, all right, here's a 1-hour special. The finale of Ash Ketchum. And everyone is here. Like, that would be bonkers. I would be so excited for that. But the next one is the Brock and Silent episode where Brock gets, like, not possessed, but he gets, like, hypnotized and kidnapped by a Hatterene. I really like the Hatterene line. And so I'm like, wait, what? Okay, I have to see this. This sounds completely batshit. And in the, like, trailer for it, there's just, like, a little Hatena on the back of Ash's head. And I'm like, so Hatena is one of my favorite Pokemon. I love it. It looks like a Kirby enemy. And if one thing about me is I love Kirby games. So that's like, dude, so when I first saw it, I was like, it looks like they took a Ralts and put a hat on it. Now, I mean, like, it still looks very different, but I think I literally named the Hatena I got in Swish Hat Ralts, and it was a main party member. But yeah, it's like, it's so cute. It's so adorable. I'm like, please let Ash catch Hatena. I don't think he's going to, because the early prognosis of him catching shit, he's 0 for 3 so far. And it's probably going to be something where it's like, oh yeah, because like we see a Hatterene, we see a Hatchram, we see a Hatena. So probably like a big happy family, and then they're going to help him, and then the Hatena's like going to go back with its family. I really just want him to catch it, though. Now, yeah, like, is he going to use it? No, because Journeys wasn't a Galar anime, it was its own shit, and Galar got completely shafted, and I know people have problems with Sword and Shield, I get it. But I really like its vibe. I love the competition. Like, I love the gym challenge, because how it's not just like, yeah, go do it because it's there. It's like, no, this is the region's personality, is how competitive they are, how into that they are. And man, we really should have seen like all of those gym leaders participating in the PWC, and we didn't meet like half of them. Wow, there are some Pokemon in Sword and Shield I think look really cool. Like, I love the Hatterene line. I love Centiskorch. I'm now blanking. It's like, there's so many cool Pokemon. I can name 2. But there's a lot I like. I don't know if we ever saw a Toxtricity. It just felt like, man, Galar got fucked. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with Paldea. I think Paldea is just gonna be like, yeah, this is now the start of the new series. So it's probably gonna get like a proper adaptation, but man, I really don't. I've got a lot of problems with journeys. I think that's where we'll stop with Pokemon for the day, but I've got a lot of problems with journeys. Northern War, I have not seen today's episode. I don't know if it's out yet. It'll probably be out by the time I'm done talking. Episode 2, I liked quite a bit. I think we saw Reen again and he didn't say anything. Like, I don't think that's going to persist. I feel like, yes, there is a point where Reen is going to be a character. But for now, he's just kind of showing up and getting his paycheck. That's happened with a couple other characters too. Like we saw Lecter, we saw Altina. I don't remember if we've seen Milliam proper in the show yet, or if she just appeared in the OP. Again, I think I said this before, that I keep waiting for Claire to show up. Because, like, well, the other Iron Bloods have, like, it doesn't really make sense to. It's like, alright, they're talking about the annexation of Crossbell, so they gotta show Papa, they gotta show, Rufus, because he's the Governor General of Crossbell. Milliam is part of the Intelligence Division. Gummid Ball is part of the Intelligence Division. Lecter's part of that. It makes sense that they would be here. Claire runs the trains. Like, she's part of the Railway Military Police. It doesn't make sense for her to be doing a lot of abroad shit. But it is weird that there's just, like, yeah, one Iron Blood when everyone else is here. So I hope she at least gets to make a cameo at some point. As for the actual, like, plot of the episode, I was not expecting to see Campanella this early. I don't know if this is kind of him, like, showing him. He's like, yeah, cool, I did what I had to, collecting his paycheck and leaving. If he's gonna keep showing up. I didn't know Ouroboros really did much in the Northumbrian War, but I mean, they've kind of got their hands in everything, so it's not that I'm surprised. I mean, I hope they show up again, because, like, I really like Campanella. But if this was it, like, I got, like, a little bit of fun out of him. There was a dancer on the stage that had, like, this, like, really short white hair and a mask on. And looking at the hair and the body type and kind of the way they were moving, like, is that Melchior from Kuro? Is it? Like, is this gonna be a thing later in this show where it's like, oh yeah, Melchior was here and, like, did some shit? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what he would be doing here, but one of his homies is from Northumbria. So if we see Alexander, because I don't fully remember what his story was. I don't remember when he left the Northern Jaegers. I think he said he was a kid or like a teenager around that time. I could be misremembering. So there's a chance we could see Alexander. Maybe he just kind of like shows up and helps someone in the war. I don't know, but I mean, excuse me. More likely than not, it was probably nothing. It was just a dude dancing with a... But even then, you're like, he's wearing a mask. It's like they're specifically not showing his face. And I recognize, like, that hair. And, like, it's very similar body type. But I think now we actually have our plot. And it's not just, yeah, there's a war going on. It's the main character has to essentially infiltrate the Empire and start getting information. I think specifically on Reen, on the Ashen Chevalier. And this is what I'm really looking forward to. Is like, okay, cool. We have our setup, so now if we are going to be an Erebonian, now there's kind of no reason to not at least have Claire make a cameo. Which just kind of make me wonder, it's like, who is going to cameo in this show? Like, you know, like, are we already done in Crossbell? And so, like, we're not going to see Operation Birdcage. Are we going to start seeing some stuff in Crossbell? Like, could Yuna show up? Are we going to see anyone from OG Class 7? Okay, I think one of the dogs is barking. You know what? I'm going to ignore it. Yeah, it's an asshole thing to do, but it's also, I'm really close to being done. So I guess let's do that. Let's say that I'm ignoring it. Let's say I'm going to speedrun. Speedrunning the rest of the thing. So football is definitely going to be its own video after I let the dogs in. Got quite a bit of shinies this week. Did some shiny hunting. That was fun. A lot of my friends have been playing Scarlet and Violet now, so it's nice to just be playing Pokemon with the boys. We got Iron Valiant, we got a Mastiff, which was really weird, because I was doing, like, Psychic Sparking Power to try to get Hatena. Did not get a Hatena, but I got a Dark type, so I was like, It's not at all what I wanted, and I'm not just like, oh, this Pokemon sucks. Like, it was cool. I actually really like it. Shiny. I was like, this is confusing, but I'll take it. I got a Flittle, a Hawlucha, and then yesterday I caught a Palmy, and I really like Shiny Palmy. Yep, okay, actually that is pretty much it. So I'm gonna go get the dogs, and then I'm gonna talk about football.